Thomas is a tank engine who lives at a big station on the island of Sodor. He's a cheeky little engine with 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel, a short stumpy boiler and a short stumpy dome. Would you like to come out today? Oh, yes, please, said Edward. So they lit his fire, made lots of steam, and Edward puffed away. The other engines were very cross at being left behind. Edward worked hard all day. The coaches thought he was very kind and the driver was very pleased. Once, an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. It went into a tunnel and squeaked through its funnel and wouldn't come out again. The engine's name is Henry. His driver and fireman argued with him, but he would not move. The rain will spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes, he said. And when the signal dropped, Thomas was ready. The guard blew his whistle. Peep, peep, answered Thomas and started off. But the trucks weren't ready. Oh, 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 they screamed, wait, Thomas, wait. But Thomas wouldn't wait. Come on, he puffed. All right, don't fuss, all right, don't fuss, grumbled the trucks. Thomas began going faster and faster. Whee! He whistled as he rushed through Henry's tunnel. Hurry, hurry, called Thomas. He was feeling very proud of himself, but the trucks grew crosser and crosser. At last, Thomas slowed down as he came to Gordon's Hill. If I choose you, will you work hard? Oh, sir, yes, sir. That's a good engine. I'll call you Percy. Yes, sir, thank you, sir, said Percy, and the Fat Controller brought him back to the yard. Edward, he called, here's Percy. Will you show him everything? Percy soon learned what he had to do, and they had a happy afternoon. Then Henry came by, hissing as usual. Cheese! Went Percy. Henry jumped and ran back to the shed. How beautifully you wheeshed him, laughed Edward. I can't wheesh like that. Oh, said Percy, that's nothing. You should hear them in the workshop. You have to wheesh loudly to make yourself heard. One winter evening, Henry's driver said, we'll be out early tomorrow. We've got to take the flying kipper. Don't tell Gordon, but I think if we pull the kipper nicely, the Fat Controller will let us pull the express. The special coal they gave you is working well. Hurrah, cried Henry, that will be lovely. All kinds of ships use the harbour at the big station by the sea. There are passenger ships, cargo ships, and fishing boats also come here. They unload their fish on the quay. Some of it goes to shops in the town, and the rest in a special train to other places far away. This is the train the railwaymen call the Flying Kipper. Henry was ready at 5 o'clock. There was snow and frost. Men hustled and shouted, loading the vans with crates of fish. The last door banged, the guard showed his green lamp. The Flying Kipper was ready to go. come on, don't be silly, puffed Henry to the vans. The vans shuddered and groaned. Trock, trick, all right. That is better, puffed Henry. Clouds of smoke and steam poured from his funnel into the cold air, and the fire's light shone brightly. Hurry, panted Henry. They were going well. The light grew better. Signal light shone green as they passed. Toby and Henrietta are enjoying their new job on the island of Sodor, but they do look old-fashioned and need new paint. James was very rude whenever he saw them. Ugh, what dirty objects, he would say. At last, Toby lost patience. James, he asked, why are you red? I am a splendid engine, answered James. Ready for anything. You never see my paint dirty. Oh, said Toby innocently, that's why you once needed bootlaces, to be ready, I suppose. James went redder than ever and snorted off. It was such an insult to be reminded of the time a bootlace had been used to mend a hole in his coaches. At the end of the line, James left his coaches and got ready for his next train. It was a slow goods, stopping at every station to pick up and set down trucks. James hated slow goods trains. Dirty trucks from dirty sidings. Blech! Wait, James, wait, said the driver, but James wouldn't wait. He was too busy thinking what he would say to Toby when they next met. The truck's chance had come. Hurrah, hurrah, they laughed, and banging their buffers, they pushed him down the hill. On, yelled the trucks. I've got to stop, groaned James. Through the station they thundered. Disaster lay ahead. Something sticky splashed all over James. He had run into 2 tar wagons and was black from smoke box to cab. He was more dirty than hurt, but the tar wagons and some trucks were all to pieces. Toby and Percy were sent to help and came as quickly as they could. Look here, Percy, exclaimed Toby. Whatever is that dirty object? That's James, didn't you know? It's James's shape, said Toby. But James is a splendid red engine, and you never see his paint dirty. James pretended he hadn't heard. Gordon was resting in a siding. Sometimes, he thought, it's really tiring to be such a large and splendid engine. One does have to keep up appearances so. Beep, 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 beep. Hello, fat face, whistled Henry. What cheeks, spluttered Gordon. That Henry is too big for his wheels. Fancy speaking to me like that. Me, who has never had an accident. Aren't jammed whistles and burst safety valves accidents? Asked Percy innocently. No, indeed. High spirits might happen to any engine. But to come off the rails like Henry did, well, I ask you, is it right? Is it decent? Wake up, Gordon, said his driver. A special train's coming and we're to pull it. Is it coaches or trucks? Truck, said his driver. Truck, said Gordon. Puh! I won't go, grumbled Gordon. Gordon was cross and didn't care what he did. He waited till the table was halfway round. I'll show them, he hissed. He moved slowly forward to jam the table, but he couldn't stop himself and slithered into a ditch. Ooh, she hissed. Get me out! Get me out! Not a hope, said his driver and fireman. You're stuck, you silly great engine. Don't you understand that? Percy works in the yard at the big station. He loves playing jokes, but they can get him into trouble. One morning, he was very cheeky indeed. Peep, peep! Hurry up, Gordon, the train's ready. Gordon thought he was late. Ha, 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 laughed Percy and showed him a train of dirty coal trucks. Gordon thought how to pay Percy out. Next, it was James's turn. Stay in the shed today, James. The Fat Controller will come and see you. Ah, thought James. The Fat Controller knows I'm a fine engine. He wants me to pull a special train. James's driver and fireman could not make him move. The other engines grumbled dreadfully. They had to do James's work as well as their own. At last the inspector arrived. Show a wheel, James. You can't stay here all day. The Fat Controller told me to stay here. He sent a message this morning. He did not. How could he? He's away for a week. Oh, said James. Oh, where's Percy? Percy had wisely disappeared. Do you know what? Asked Percy. What? Grunted Gordon. Do you know what? Silly, said Gordon. Of course I don't know what. If you don't tell me what is. The Fat Controller says that the work in the yard is too heavy for me. He's getting a bigger engine to help me. Rubbish, said James. Any engine could do it. If you worked more and chatted less, this yard would be a sweeter, a better, and a happier place. Percy went off to fetch some coaches. The new engine arrived. What's your name? Asked the Fat Controller. Montague, sir, but I'm usually called Duck. They say I waddle. I don't really, sir, but I like Duck better than Montague. Good. Duck it shall be. Here, Percy, show Duck round. The two engines went off together. Soon they were very busy. James, Gordon, and Henry watched Duck quietly doing his work. He seems a simple sort of engine. We'll have some fun and order him about. Smoke billowed everywhere. Percy worked hard at the new harbour. The workmen needed stone for their building. Toby helped, but sometimes the loads of stone were too heavy, and Percy had to fetch them for himself. Sometimes he'd see Thomas. Well done, Percy. The Fat Controller is very pleased with us. An airfield was close by. Percy heard the aeroplane zooming overhead all day. The noisiest of all was a helicopter. Stupid thing, said Percy. Why can't it go and buzz somewhere else? One day Percy stopped at the airfield. "Hello," said Percy. "Who are you?" "I'm Harold," said the helicopter. "Who are you?" "I'm Percy. What really great arms you've got." "They're nice arms," said Harold. "I can hover like a bird. Don't you wish you could hover?" "Certainly not. I like my rails, thank you." "I think railways are slow," said Harold. "They're not much use and quite out of date." He whirled his arms and buzzed away. One day Henry wanted to rest, but Percy was talking to some engines. He was telling them about the time he had braved bad weather to help Thomas. It was raining hard. Water swirled under my boiler. I couldn't see where I was going, but I struggled on. "Oh, Percy, you are brave." "Well, it wasn't anything really. Water's nothing to an engine with determination." "Tell us more, Percy." "What are you engines doing here?" hissed Henry. "This shed is for the Fat Controller's engines. Go away." "Silly things," Henry snorted. "They're not silly." Percy had been enjoying himself. "They are silly, and so are you. Water's nothing to an engine with determination. Huh!" Thomas was looking at a board on the quay. "Danger! We mustn't go past it," he said. "That's orders." "Why?" "Danger means falling down something," said Thomas. "I went past danger once and fell down a mine." "I can't see a mine," said Percy. He didn't know that the foundations of the quay had sunk. The rails now sloped downward to the sea. "Stupid board," said Percy. Every wise engine knows that you cannot trust trucks. Go on, they yelled, and bumped Percy's driver and fireman off the footplate. "Oh!" said Percy, sliding past the board. Percy was frantic. "That's enough!" Percy was sunk. Next day, he was sent to the works on Henry's goods train. Well, chuckled Henry. "Did you like the water?" "No. I am surprised. You need more determination, Percy. Water's nothing to an engine with determination, you know. Perhaps you will like it better next time." Percy is quite determined that there won't be a next time. Duck is very proud of being Great Western. He talks endlessly about it. But he works hard too and makes everything go like clockwork. It was a splendid day. The trucks and coaches behaved well. The passengers even stopped grumbling. But the engines didn't like having to bustle about. "There are two ways of doing things," Duck told them. "The Great Western way or the wrong way. I'm Great Western and don't we know it?" they groaned. The engines were glad when a visitor came. He purred smoothly towards them. The Fat Controller introduced him. "Here is Diesel. I have agreed to give him a trial. He needs to learn. Please teach him, Duck." Good morning, purred Diesel in an oily voice. Pleased to meet you, Duck. Is that James and Henry and Gordon too? I am delighted to meet such famous engines. Duck had his doubts. Come on, he said. Diesel purred after him. Your worthy fat Sir Topham Hat to you, ordered Duck. Diesel looked hurt. Your worthy Sir Topham Hat thinks I need to learn. He is mistaken. We Diesels don't need to learn. We know everything. We come to a yard and improve it. We are revolutionary. Oh, said Duck, if you're Revo Thingamgummy, perhaps you would collect my trucks while I fetch Gordon's coaches. Diesel, delighted to show off, purred away. Chuckled Duck. Diesel recovered and tried to push the trucks back, but they wouldn't move. Duck ran quietly round to collect the other trucks. Thank you for arranging these, Diesel. I must go now. Don't you want this lot? No, thank you. Diesel gulped. And I've taken all this trouble. Why didn't you tell me? You never asked me. Besides, said Duck, you were having such fun being Rev whatever it was you said. Goodbye. Trucks are waiting in the yard, tackling them with Diesel. Show the world what I can do, gaily boasts the Diesel. In and out he creeps about like a big black weasel. When he pulls the wrong trucks out, pop goes the Diesel. Growled Diesel and scuttled away to sulk in the shed. Duck, the Great Western engine, puffed sadly to Edward's station. It's not fair, he complained. Diesel has been telling lies about me and made the Fat Controller and all the engines think I'm horrid. Edward smiled. I know you aren't, and so does the Fat Controller. You wait and see. Why don't you help me with these trucks? Duck felt happier with Edward and set to work at once. Duck loved coasting down the hill, running easily with the wind whistling past. Suddenly, it was a guard's warning whistle. Hurrah, 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 laughed the trucks. We've broken away, we've broken away. Chase him, bump him, throw him off the rails, they yelled. Hurry, Duck, hurry, said the driver. They raced through Edward's station, but the trucks were catching up. Oh, glory, look at that! James was just pulling out on their line from the station ahead. Any minute there could be a crash. It's up to you now, Duck, cried the driver. Duck put every ounce of weight and steam against the trucks. It's too late, Duck groaned and shut his eyes. He veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. Beg pardon, sir, gasped Duck. Excuse my intrusion. No, I won't, said the barber. You frighten my customers. I'll teach you. And he lathered Duck's face all over. Poor Duck. Thomas was helping to pull the trucks away when the Fat Controller arrived. I do not like engines popping through my walls, fumed the barber. I appreciate your feelings, said the Fat Controller, but you must know that this engine and his crew have prevented a serious accident. It was a very close, shave. Oh, said the barber. Oh, excuse me. He filled a basin of water to wash Duck's face. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were being a brave engine. That's all right, sir. I didn't know that either. You were very brave indeed, said the Fat Controller. I'm proud of you. The Fat Controller watched the rescue operation. Then he had more news for Duck. And when you are properly washed and mended, you are coming home. Home, sir? Do you mean the yard? Of course. But, sir, they don't like me. They like Diesel. Not now. I never believed Diesel, so I sent him packing. The engines are sorry and want you back. A few days later, when he came home, there was a really rousing welcome for Duck the Great Western Engine. Donald and Douglas are twins and had arrived from Scotland to help the Fat Controller, but only one engine had been expected. The twins meant well, but did cause confusion. The Fat Controller had given them numbers, Donald 9 and Douglas 10, but he was still planning to send one engine home. There was a brake van in the yard that had taken a dislike to Douglas. Things always went wrong when he had to take it out. His trains were late and he was blamed. Douglas began to worry. Donald, his twin, was angry. "You're a muckle nuisance," said Donald. "It's to leave you behind I'd be wanting." "You can't," said the van. "I'm essential." "Oh, Kaya!" Donald burst out. "You're nothing but a screeching and a noise when all's said and done. Spot Dougie, would you? Take that!" "Oh, oh, oh!" cried the van. "There's more coming, should you misbehave." The van behaved better after that. "I heard tell about an engine and some tar wagons." "Shut up," said James. "It's not funny." He didn't like to be reminded of his own accident. "Well, well, well," said Douglas. "Surely, James, it wasn't a you. You didn't say." James didn't say. He slouched sulkily away. "He's cross," sniggered the spiteful brake van. "We'll try to make him crosser still." "Hold back," giggled the trucks to each other. James did his best, but he was exhausted when they reached Edward Station. Luckily, Douglas was there. "Help me up the hill, please," panted James. "These trucks are playing tricks." "We'll show them," said Douglas. Slowly but surely, the snorting engines forced the trucks up the hill. But James was losing steam. "I can't do it! I can't do it! Lay it to me!" shouted Douglas. The guard was anxious. "Go steady! The van's breaking!" The van was in pieces. "You know just where to stop, Thomas," laughed his driver. "You could almost manage it without me." Thomas had become conceited. He didn't realize his driver was joking. Later, he boasted to the others. "Driver says I don't need him now." "Don't be so daft," snorted Percy. "I'd never go without my driver," said Toby earnestly. "I'd be frightened." "Huh," boasted Thomas. "I'm not scared." "You'd never dare." "I would then. You'll see." Thomas suddenly remembered. "Silly stick in the muds," he chuckled. "I'll show them. Driver said I could manage without him. I'll just go out. Then I'll stop and wheesh. That'll make them jump." Thomas thought he was being clever. Really, he was only moving because a careless cleaner had meddled with his controls. He soon found his mistake. He tried to whee, but he couldn't. He tried to stop, but he couldn't. He just kept rolling along. He didn't dare look at what was coming next. There was the station master's house. The station master was about to have breakfast. "Horrors!" cried Thomas, and shut his eyes. The house rocked. Broken glass tinkled. Plaster was everywhere. Thomas had collected a bush on his travels. He peered into the room through its leaves. He couldn't speak. The station master was furious. His wife picked up her plate. "You miserable engine," she scolded. "Just look what you've done to our breakfast. Now I shall have to cook some more." She banged the door. More plaster fell. This time it fell on Thomas. Thomas felt depressed. "Dinna fash yourself, Thomas. We'll soon have you back on the rails," they laughed. Donald and Douglas, puffing hard, managed to haul Thomas back to safety. Bits of fencing, the bush, and a broken window frame festooned his front, which was badly twisted. The twins laughed and left him. Thomas was in disgrace. One day, Toby brought Henrietta to the station, where Percy was grumpily shunting. "Hello, Percy. I see Daisy's left the milk again." "I'll have to make a special journey with it, I suppose." "Anyone would think I'd nothing to do," grumbled Percy. "Tell you what," replied Toby. "I'll take the milk. You fetch my trucks." The drivers and the station master agreed. Percy had never been to the quarry before. He began ordering the trucks about. "Hurry along," he said. The trucks grumbled to each other. "This is Toby's place. Percy's got no right to poke his funnel up here and push us around." They whispered and passed the word. "Pay Percy out! Pay Percy out!" "Come along," puffed Percy. "No nonsense." "We'll give him nonsense," giggled the trucks. But they followed so quietly that Percy thought they were under control. Suddenly they saw a notice ahead. "All trains stop to pin down brakes." "Peep, peep, peep! Brakes, guard, please." But before he could check them, the truck surged forward. On, they cried. "Help! Help!" whistled Percy. The man on duty at the crossing rushed to warn traffic with his red flag, but was too late to switch Percy to the runaway siding. Frantically trying to grip the rails, Percy slid into the yard. "Peep, peep! Look out!" The brake van was in smithereens. Percy's driver and fireman had jumped clear, but Percy was stranded. "We must now try," said the Fat Controller, "to run the branch line with Toby and a diesel. You have put us in an awkward predicament." "I am sorry, sir," replied Percy. "You can stay there till we are ready. Perhaps it will teach you to be careful with trucks." Percy sighed. The trucks groaned beneath his wheels. He quite understood about awkward predicaments. Bill and Ben are tank engine twins. Each has 4 wheels, a tiny chimney and dome, and a small squat cab. Their trucks are filled with china clay. It is needed for pottery, paper, paint, and many other things. The twins are now kept busy pulling the trucks for engines on the main line. and for ships in the harbour. One morning, they arranged some trucks and went away for more. They returned to find them all gone. The twins were most surprised. Their drivers examined a patch of oil. "That's a diesel," they said. "It's a wattle?" asked Bill. "A diesel, I think," replied Ben. "There's a notice about them in our shed. Coughs and sneezels spread diseases. You had a cough in your smoke box yesterday. It's your fault the diesel came." "It isn't, it is." "Stop arguing, you two," laughed their drivers. "Let's go and rescue our trucks." Bill and Ben were horrified. "But the diesel will magic us away like the trucks." "He won't magic us," replied their drivers. "We'll more likely magic him." The diesel looked up. "Do you mind?" "Yes," said Bill, "I do. I want my trucks, please." "These are mine," said the diesel. "Go away." Bill pretended to be frightened. "You're a big bully," he whimpered. "You'll be sorry." He ran back and hid behind the trucks on the other side. Ben now came forward. "Truck stealer!" hissed Ben. He ran away too. Bill took his place. This went on till the diesel's eyes nearly popped out. "Stop! You're making me giddy!" The two engines gazed at him. "Are there two of you?" "Yes, we're twins." "I might have known it." Bertie the bus was giving some visitors a tour of the island of Sodor. It was their last afternoon, and Edward was preparing to take them to meet Bill and Ben. He found it hard to start the heavy train. "Did you see him straining?" asked Henry. "Positively painful," remarked James. "Just pathetic," grunted Gordon. "He should give up and be preserved before it's too late." "Shut up," burst out Duck. "You're all jealous. Edward's better than any of you." "You're right, Duck," said Boko. "Edward's old, but he'll surprise us all." "I've done it, we're off! I've done it, we're off!" said Edward as he finally puffed out of the station. On the way, the weather changed. Wind and rain buffeted Edward. His sanding gear failed, and his fireman rode in front, dropping sand on the rails by hand. Suddenly, Edward's wheels slipped fiercely. With a shrieking crack, something broke. The crew inspected the damage. Repairs took some time. "One of your crank pins broke, Edward," said his driver. "We've taken your side rods off. Now you're like an old-fashioned engine. Can you get these people home? They must start back tonight." "I'll try, sir," promised Edward. Edward puffed and pulled his hardest, but his wheels kept slipping and he could not start the heavy train. The passengers were anxious. Driver, fireman and guard went along the train, making adjustments between the coaches. "We've loosened the couplings, Edward. Now you can pick your coaches up one by one, just as you do with trucks." "That will be much easier," said Edward. "Come on," he puffed, and moved cautiously forward. The first coach moving helped to start the second, and the second helped the third. "I've done it! I've done it!" puffed Edward. "Steady, boy," warned his driver. "Well done, boy. You've got them! You've got them!" And he listened happily to Edward's steady beat as he forged slowly but surely ahead. At last, battered, weary, but unbeaten, Edward steamed in. Henry was waiting for the visitors with the special train. "Peep, peep!" The fat controller angrily pointed to the clock, but excited passengers cheered and thanked Edward, his driver and fireman. Duck and Boko saw to it that Edward was left in peace. Gordon and James remained respectfully silent.